morning, WDWA family and Wrestle Talk podcast family. It's great to be here again. Episode number 26 of Elevation. Oh, we got another great episode for you. We kind of missed the last episode due to some unforeseen circumstances, but we are back tonight. My man Gavin Jackson back with us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Gavin, how you been doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. Happy to be back. Stepping in for our man Donnie Diablo. He's been under the weather here recently, dealing with some issues, but we wish him the best and hopefully he gets better soon. But man, yeah, I'm happy to be back. I always love being here. You and I kicked off Elevation a little over a year ago. Man, we've been kicking butt ever since. I just happy to be here, man. Happy to recap 2 shows with you. Happy to engage with the audience, man. Just happy to be here. My man Matt, how you doing, Matt? Hey, Tammy.
Guys, it's great to be here, be back tonight, and happy to have Gavin back tonight. And speaking of having people back, after the Mid-Atlantic Championship changed hands, Mr. Hall decided he wanted to come back and talk with us again. So we're gonna have him back,
man, like I'm pretty upset about this one. In fact, like I'm pretty down that that's our guest tonight. He's not on my favorite list at this moment. Some of the things he did last Saturday night, I disagree with. The facts are the facts. He's still the Mid-Atlantic champion, but it's I like fighting champions. I like guys that are going to stand toe to toe, not guys that are going to take cheap shots. And he just disappointed me Saturday night.
And somehow I had to put up with him half the night Saturday night, because the whole first half he was sitting there at the broadcast table and said he was taking Donnie's place and wasn't leaving till you gave him what he wanted. So I had to put up with him for half the nights, and now I got to put up with him again tonight. What do you think about? I don't know.
I don't know, man. It seems like a lot of even dealing with him one time is enough. So he's here. He's whether I like it or not, whether people like it or not, he is the new Mid-Atlantic champion. I saw Petticord wrote that. He won twice. I don't know exactly what he's talking about, but I saw that message also on social media as well. So, but yeah, not a fan of the guy right now. I'm sorry that you've had to deal with him. I know, like, after we sort of had a face-to-face, he kind of went out the back door yelling and kicking and complaining and things like that. So I didn't know that he ended up over at your table until later on in the show. So my apologies for not seeing that.
It's all good, but tonight we do not have the fans weigh in, because we really a lot to talk about when it comes to the next show yet. But we will get back to that just as soon as we can. But we've got a lot to talk about, because like I said, we kind of missed the last Elevation show, and so we've still got to talk about broken barriers, and
hell of a show.
Yeah, that was a great show, and somewhere I have the results here.
Sorry, while you're looking for them, I'll go ahead. So right here, the broken barriers, that we were sponsored by the Parsons family. The Parsons family reached out to us and was like, hey, we just want to do something special for you guys. You guys have always put on great shows. We just want to be a part of it. So they decided to sponsor the show. Procurement Sciences is always super great. They always sponsor us every single show, but hats off to them. Got a lot of respect, a lot of love for them. GFX by Design, they do a lot of they make posters, they design wrestling gear, they do a bunch of that, and of course Wrestle Talk podcast. But yeah, man, broken barriers, killer show. All those women kicked ass like normal. Yeah, just very proud of each and every one of them.
But it looks like I must not have loaded that one. I thought I did, but that's okay because I think we can remember things here. I do actually have some notes, so that way we can go on that. There were some changes though. Um, you know, the first match that we had that night actually was no, that's not right.
It's all right. We'll start right here, John. While you're looking for all the other stuff, man, this was a hell of a tag team match. Honestly, probably stole the show. The crowd was in this match from the beginning bell to the end bell. Man, cheering on both of these teams. Had the guys at the end of their seat trying to get into the ring, and things like that. The team of Liberty L and Sis Sasaki, man, what a freaking powerhouse of a team, man. There is nothing that those two can't do individually, and man, you put them together, they are freaking killing it. So proud of those girls, and uh, unfortunately, Riley Crow wasn't able to make the show, but we did have Vanilla Vargas step in to take her place, who was freaking amazing. So hats off to all four of those ladies. They freaking killed it. But Liberty L and Sisasaki was just one step ahead of the rest of the team. So hats off to those ladies, but they were victorious that night.
Yeah, that was a great match, and really enjoyed it. But yeah, because there were a few things that night that we actually had to substitute in, but it all worked out in the end, and really enjoyed that match. And I believe I found out that night. I didn't realize that the tag team of Liberty L and Sis Sasaki is actually called the Blood Sisters. I did not
Oh,
know
hell
that.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that either. They must have come up with that on their own that night. I mean, freaking sweet. Yeah, we've mentioned before, in the past multiple times, when we referred to Clay Jacobs and Zakar Shaw as like the mega powers of like the WDWA when they were teaming up. I could feel the same with the women's division. With you put Liberty L and Sis Sasaki, you got two of the best right there teaming up. That, man, I mean, amazing talent between both of them. Like, you put any two girls up against them, and probably even any two guys up against them, and they'd still kick their ass. So, yeah, happy to have them. They definitely were huge on the marquee that night.
So, and actually, the first match of the night was Juliet versus Lady Glory. That's where we opened up the night. And, that was another hard hitting match, another great match to watch. But of course, Lady Glory came out victorious when, she ended the match with her her finishing move, the Glorious Bind.
Yeah, I mean, Lady Gloria has been nonstop since she's been here in WDWA. I don't want to take anything against her. Obviously, fans aren't really behind her. They're not a big fan of her. I don't know if it's because she's linked with the Uncrowned Kings or what. But she's not very liked there at WDWA. But man, she does not care. She'll get there. She'll rub it in all your faces. She's just constantly winning, constantly making statements. She's not afraid of nobody. I mean, we've seen her, get in guys like Clay Jacobs' face. This weekend she got in the Sigma males. Like, she doesn't care. It's like she's small in stature, but she's big in heart. And with her willpower and how good she is in the ring, I mean, she might as well be 6 feet tall. We had Juliet return to go one-on-one with her, who also, you mentioned like hard hitting and stuff like that. She was laying her stuff in, trying to knock Glory down. Both of those ladies were back and forth. That match could have went either way, but once Lady Glory locks in that submission, I almost everybody's going to tap out on that one.
Yeah, and then, after that, we actually saw it was supposed to have been Nicole, Ashton Nicole versus Jade, but it ended up being Kim Kirsten versus Ashton Nicole.
That's right. So Ashley Nicole, second time she's been here at WDWA. Kim Kirsten returned as well. This has been the third time I think she's been here now. But yeah, both of these ladies, man, wow. I mean, I don't even know what to say because both of them were bringing it, right? Like both of them have history with each other. They both like each other. They're friends outside there. Um, but right away, John, you could tell that they put the friendship aside for the sake of just being, seeing who's the best, the better competitor. All the ladies here are trying to climb up the ladder to one day face off against the champion. Yeah, and they put their friendship to the side, and there could only be one winner, and that night, ended up being Sean Day.
Yeah, so that was another great match. And I really do like these all women shows because we get to see talent that we don't see all the time. And so it really gets to focus on some different talent and really a lot of hard hitting moves from these women that a lot of people have the thought that they get in there and they just slap and tickle, but no, they don't. They hit
Oh, hell
hard.
no.
And
Those girls hit harder than the guys.
so,
Matt Pinkston just said in the chat, bring back Vanilla. One thing about Vanilla Vargas, I mean, she comes from, she flew in from Puerto Rico just for this show. She trained and she used to work for AAA, AAA down there in Mexico. Hard hitting, very, very acrobatic. The whole world's got their eyes on you. It's, you have these women coming from all over the world that have great training, great backgrounds. We only want the best here at WDWA, and we provide the platform for anybody to show up and show out. So, if there's lady wrestlers out there that want to be a part of WDWA, definitely contact the offices, and let's try to get you in here, because we're all about setting that platform. We named the show Broken Barriers, and the reason why we named it Broken Barriers is because forever women have taken a back seat to men's wrestling, and I've seen how hard the girls work. They work just as hard as the men, and they needed a platform to be showcased on, and that's all I was doing. So the fact that people enjoy it is it's the cherry on top.
and Matt says to bring back Vanilla Vargas, and she actually was supposed to have been at that show, and she was advertised to be there because she was supposed to have taken on Zenith Zion.
She was there.
But
she was there. She teamed with.
That's right. Vanilla did that.
She teamed with Nair Robles and the Riot Squad. Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
That's all right. That's why I'm here today, John. To correct all those mistakes that happen when I'm not here, brother. I got you. I'm holding you up like a stick, brother.
I was thinking though, because of the fact that her match got changed, that's why I was thinking she wasn't there. But her match did get changed because the one member of the Riot Squad couldn't make it. So, but the match that got changed was the triple threat match that had been advertised. We were supposed to see Emily Saxton, Becca Weil, Maya Martinez, which we did see all three of them, but that's where Zenith Zion was put into this match to make it a four-way match.
Yeah.
And, I don't think that some of the ladies were too happy that it was changed to a four-way instead of a three-way, but no matter what, Zenith Zion, she took full advantage of the situation and came out victorious.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, we always use the term card subject to change. That's not just for the fans, that's for the wrestlers as well. You need to always be on your game. You can't just train for a match. You got to train to be the best overall professional wrestler that you can be. So, the fact that the girls were upset that we added a fourth, I mean, I get it. I've been there, but tough, Like, we only want the best here. You know, you got to toughen up. Yeah, you got to stand up. I mean, me and Emily had some words outside where she was a little upset that she wasn't prepared. Um, you know, but all those ladies, you know, between Emily, and Becca and Maya and um, Zenith, I mean, put on a great show mixed with athleticism and power and all that stuff. Everything you wanted was in that 4-way match, you know. And I think every one of those ladies are definitely going to be back here in WDWA.
Yeah, definitely. Um, it was, like you say, it was a great show, and I definitely look forwards to seeing each one of them come back because some of them do have some unfinished business there, and so we know we're going to see them come back. But then we went from that. We went into the match of Rebecca Blade versus Katie Bright, and that matchup. Poor Rebecca Blade. I picked her once again to win this thing, and she this time though it was not necessarily a loss of her own doing, um, because Dex appeared with Wraith, and they abducted Rebecca Blade, and so she was counted out, and the victory ultimately went to Katie Bright via the count out. But surprisingly, Dex has abducted his first female member into Legion.
Yeah, that's one thing about coming to, you know, WDWA shows. You know, not to toot our own horn, but like, you never know what to expect. You know, you could we put the matches out there. Sometimes they change. You know, sometimes random things happen. Like, I would have never put on my bingo card that Dex would have showed up during that match, man. As soon as I saw the lights go out, as soon as I heard the music hit, like, man, my jaw dropped. You know, I've always been a fan of Rebecca. Um, you know, like, win, lose, or draw, she's always been in there kicking ass. But I think, man, like, now that she's in this group, now that she's surrounded by the 3 other members of Legion, and we know how the other people have transformed in that group once they've been a part of Legion. Like, I don't even know what to expect the next time we see Rebecca, but I guarantee it's going to be like a straight savage pit bull. And you know, I think all of the women on the locker room, you know, they need to keep their eye out. They've been warned. But it was nice to have Katie Bright back. It's been a little while. But yeah, Katie Bright for the win there.
Yeah, definitely, and like you say, I was shocked when that happened, and I don't know what to expect from Rebecca Blade from here on out. But I definitely think she's going to be a force to be reckoned with when she comes back. And of course, that's when we had the Riot Act versus Liberty L, which we've already talked about. And then we went into our main event of the night, which, she's already been in the comments saying, talk about me, talk about me. We saw a best 2 out of 3 falls women's championship match where, we actually saw Amara Void taking on Tiffany Grady for the women's championship. The rematch that Amara Void was just getting. She's never gotten the rematch up until that point. And so that was the first time she received her rematch. And, there was another little wrinkle to it because we had a special guest referee in Doug Rafferty.
The Hall of Fame.
That was not expected at all, and so he came out, he was special guest referee. I'd say he did a decent job at keeping order and things. You know, Jason Curtis did try to get involved, but that actually caused a miscue, and Amara Void was able to get the first fall out of it, and Tiffany was not too happy about that, and so then Tiffany, she eventually ended up hitting the second fall, and then she ended up winning overall. So, she did retain, but it was a very back and forth match. It wasn't one sided. And honestly, I don't think there was really a whole lot of interference by Jason Curtis. So it was a great match to watch overall.
Yeah, I mean, there was high stakes in this match, man. Like, first of all, Amar Void, she was the last champion. Tiffany Grady's been talking about her 365 plus days, and counting, being women's champion, the longest reigning women's champion ever here in the World Domination Wrestling Alliance. Like, Amar wanted that title back. She wanted to prove, hey, you only won because this was a triple threat when you won. Like, you can't beat me for sure. So there's a lot of stakes on her end, and then there was a lot of proving ground for Tiffany Grady. Tiffany Grady had to prove that she was worthy enough. So all those naysayers that said that she won the title by a fluke or she wasn't able to beat the champ without somebody else's help. Beating her down throughout the match, things like that. So there was a lot on the line here, and you know what? Like, I can sit and I can down Tiffany Grady all day long, but like the one thing about her and her crew is they find a way to win. Which being in this business, you always got to have eyes in the back of your head. You always got to have an ace up your sleeve, and they seem to have all of that plan. Like, all their game plans, you could tell, have been very orchestrated, and they all seem to be working. So what they need out there is they need somebody out there that's gonna fight fire with fire. So unfortunately, you have guys like Jason Curtis in her corner, who's just low down scum that just sticks his nose in all the business or in everyone else's business. That one day he's going to get what he deserves as well. So yeah, man, time will tell. Like, who's going to step up against Tiffany, who's going to dethrone the queen. But for now, she stands tall on it.
Yeah. So I mean, it was another great show overall, and just look forwards to more shows of this nature because like I say, it's just a great time for the talent to the ladies talent to actually show up and show out, which we don't get to see the ladies that often. We see some here and there, but we don't get to see them that often with their own show, and they deserve to have their own show. And so it was great to see it. But as always, if you missed it, don't worry. Juan got everything on film, and so you can get all caught up on Frontline. Juan does a great job with that every Thursday night, 8 p.m. YouTube.com/Wild Patriot 22. It is a great show that Juan puts on there, where you will hear myself on commentary as well as normally Dashing Donnie Diablo. And we are joined, from time to time by Steve Netz, and you never know who's going to join us. Like I say, last show, somehow I ended up with Jamie Hall for half the show. And then I ended up with JTR for a match. And then I ended up with Austin Kingsley for a match.
John, I owe you more, man, for you to have to deal with both of those chumps.
You never know who's going to show up. But definitely tune in to Frontline to get caught up if you missed it.
Step into the big house, earn your stripes in the big house. The crowd is jumping, the crowd is loud. Everybody's rowdy all around the WDWA. It's showtime.
All right.
Good stuff over there at Frontline, Juan. You know, he's always killing it over there, enjoying the shows, enjoying the packages he puts together, seeing things that I don't even see at the show. You know, he's always on his game there. You know, thank you, Juan. Hats off to you, brother.
Yeah, he is always catching stuff. I tell you that we don't see out front. So definitely something that you want to check out because you never know what he's caught. But as we as we said, it wasn't enough that I had to sit next to him for half the night, Saturday night. Um, after winning the Mid Atlantic Championship, Jamie said, I want to come back on. The people want to see me. So we had brought him back on. So
I gotta be honest, John.
ladies,
I'm not looking forward to seeing him, man. Like he got under my skin Saturday night. You know, we got face to face, man. Like I I don't know, man. I feel just like he just he took the coward way out and attacked Carlson before the bell even rang. Like Carlson was a fighting champ, man, and you saw the heart he had Saturday night. And the only heart that Jamie Hall has is black, man. That's why he goes by Hollow Jamie Hall.
well,
He only cares about himself, man. He's not in this to like be a fighting champion or get any recognition, or he's not looking to be on any Mount Rushmore. All he cares about is just hurting people and things like that, man. And that's not what the business that I love is about. So not looking forward that he's coming on here. Kind of, upsets me a little bit, but I'm trying to be professional a little bit since Donnie can't be here. And I also wanted to make sure you weren't alone in this, John. But just know going into this, man, not a big fan of this. Wish we had somebody else today, but it's what it is.
I think after having the privilege of spending the first half next to me Saturday night, he was hoping that he could celebrate with Donnie, but Donnie's not here. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our new WDWA Mid Atlantic champion, the one and only Hollow Jamie Hall.
Welcome now.
What's going on, Jamie? Guys? Hey, you know I can hear you, Gavin, right? Sorry, I was just trying to loosen up before the podcast because I know I'm going to have to carry this sucker.
It's all good, man. I don't bite my tongue. Whatever I say in front of John, I can say in front of anybody else, man. That's how I feel. It is what it is. But despite how I feel, despite what the fans feel, you are sitting there with the Mid Atlantic Championship, and nothing's changing that right now. So
yeah, you strike me as a real keyboard warrior there, brother. Just watch your blood pressure, old man, because if that doesn't kill you, I definitely will take you out, sir. Anyways, it's a pleasure to see you again, John.
Don't poke the bear. Don't poke the bear. But yeah, John, pleasure to see you. But like I said, let's just be professional here. Whether we like it or not, Jamie is a champion. He is somebody that's representing WDWA at the time. But let's go ahead. Let's start from the beginning with you and Ranch Hand Carlson. I mean, you guys met up in what I believe was a 4-way at the time. Where you were not successful during that, but you were not pinned as well, so obviously, you were a little bitter So what were you thinking going into that first one-on-one match with Ranch Hand?
I was thinking that I should have won. Clearly, I don't know if you guys remember, but up until somebody had to come out with a chair, I was, and quote me if I'm wrong, John, I was putting down both Bo and Ranch Hand. Both of them down, boots to both of them. If it wasn't for a steel chair, and you talk about me having a black heart, Ranch Hand throwing the lariat to a downed man who had taken a chair shot and pinning him in Bo Ross, I would have been victorious. We could have avoided all of this. And yeah, we'd be much further along in our WDWA conversation.
Yeah, I mean, before we move further, I remember that night. I remember talking with Ranch Hand backstage. He was coming to me, apologize. He was unaware that chair shot even took place. So it was him seizing the opportunity of an opponent who was down. So again, I'm not gonna
okay.
test his morals or anything like that.
Tit for tat. So when he seizes the opportunity of a down man, it's okay. He's got fighting spirit. But when I do it, I'm a terrible person and I'm the scourge of pro wrestling industry. Okay, I'll remember that. Let's keep it moving.
No. Let's not move forward yet. No, not just yet. I'm gonna tit for tat again. He was in the middle of a match. The bell was ringing. He was in the middle of a match. He sees the opportunity of something that he saw. You, on the other hand, took the coward way out, and before the bell even rang, you attacked your opponent. So therefore, your opponent was not 100% going into his match. And, man, this one's making me heated. I'm just happy that, that we were able to actually have that match, because you almost ruined the whole night by that.
It's not my fault he was weak, because before I pile drived him on the concrete, all I had done was punched him in the face a few times. So, it seems to me that the writing was already on the wall. But yeah, whatever you think. Hey, it's your company. I'm just your champion. So you know what I mean.
You are my champion. You are my champion for now. We have a roster full of guys that are hot right now, and they're all hungry, and they're going to be coming for you. And you start taking those shots, before the bell rings, and do your sneak attacks, And like I just said earlier, you start poking the bear starts poking back. So, you just watch yourself, Jamie Hall.
Yeah, like Josh Petticord said, it's called strategy, Gavin. It's called strategy. Get some. If you're going to wrestle Jamie, all you up-and-coming contenders, have some strategy. That's all we're saying.
All I'm saying is I don't think you would be holding that championship title right now if you wouldn't have took that cheap shot. But, John, what are your thoughts, man? What were you thinking when this happened? Because I thought the whole night was over for Ranch Hand after that.
I couldn't believe it. I was sitting up there. I watched that happen, and I was standing up there screaming, no, and I couldn't believe that he actually pile drived Ranch Hand on that concrete. And then later, when the match actually took place, gave him 3 more pile drivers, 2 of them being on a steel chair. And I thought Ranch Hand, I didn't know if Ranch Hand was even going to walk out of there, let alone come back later that night in the Rumble. Ranch Hand, he's got some heart, I tell you.
He's lucky he's not in a wheelchair right now. That pile driver on that concrete, it's one thing. After that bell rings, especially in the last man standing match, there's no rules. Like, I would give it to Jamie if he did that. I'd give it to Ranch Hand. I'd give it to anybody that's in that match. The thing that pisses me off right now is that Jamie had to take a shortcut prior to the bell to weaken his opponent, as opposed to just, meeting him in the ring, face to face like a real man. And that's what's under my skin right now with Jamie. And that's what's pissing me off about this whole Mid-Atlantic champion sitting right here next to us, John.
Yeah. So, Jamie, now that you are the Mid-Atlantic Championship, Is there anybody that you have your eye on that you feel deserves the championship match against you for that championship? Anybody you'd like to face for it?
Well, that's a damn good question, John. I didn't think you'd actually ask any. Let's see. Where do I start? There's a lot of people that certainly piss me off. I don't know if any of them actually deserve a shot at the title, but I would love to get them in the ring. And I don't think if I didn't put the championship up for grabs that they would square off with me. Anybody in the back can get it, quite frankly. I know I definitely owe Y Keys something. I've settled business with Ranch and so that's dead. But he's looking for it. Should definitely be looking behind himself because you never know who's right there and when it's going to be me. And I'm going to pile drive him on the concrete. I think anybody on Gavin's list when he did that stupid little ask me, and Donnie, my homeboy, asked, trying to get some insight for his brother while he's away on vacation. Anybody on that stupid list, anybody can get it. Bo Ross, Ace Christian, CEO, anybody, especially if the fans like them. Just something about those WDWA fans, those faithful that sit right there, and especially the ones that chant, "You forgot to hook the leg," like it wasn't intentional that I didn't hook the leg. Anybody they like, put them in the ring with me. I'm ready for it. Oh, yeah, maybe AK. Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to see AK get in there with you. I'd like to see you try to power drive him on the concrete.
Yeah, well, it may take 2 or 3. He's definitely a lot bigger than Ranch and Carlson, but I would get it done. You got to have faith in yourself, Gavin. You got to believe when others want to believe that you will achieve. You can't be a naysayer or a Debbie Downer. You just have to have the guts, the intestinal fortitude, and the mental bearing to just set your sights on something, say it's your goal, and then go after it, and don't get distracted, and don't let anything stop you from taking what's yours. And that's all I did. And if that's what pisses you off, then I'm sorry. I guess that's the difference between being a man and being the champion and then being an ex-wrestler who now owns a wrestling company. So don't try and impose your morals and your ethics on me when I'm cashing your checks and wearing your championship and representing your brand. And I'm doing it the best way that I know how to do it. And I'm doing a damn fine job, if I may say. If we're taking score, it's been almost a year, and we have to give one to Ranch Hand because he's tough. And like my daddy said, if you're gonna be dumb, well, you better be tough. So he's really tough. He got one on me, and then Y Keys, but with an asterisk because once again, Ranch Hand Carlson. So yeah, two losses in almost a year.
Yeah, you know what, man? I think you have brought a lot to WDWA. I think you are very talented. I was looking forward to this last man standing match because I loved the other matches you guys were in. I thought you guys used the stipulations properly, and whoever was the better man that night won. The only thing that upsets me about this is you just had to take that cheap shot before the bell rang. I wanted to see you guys. I wanted this final match, out of the 2 out of 3 match series, I wanted this to be something memorable. I wanted this to be something that was going to be legendary, something that all those fans would go home and talk about forever. But when a snake in the grass like yourself takes a cheap shot on somebody like pre-bell, man, like, all that does is that just downplays, everything that I thought highly of you. I know you're better than that in the ring, and I'm not saying you don't have the skills to be Mid-Atlantic champion. All I'm saying is you did not deserve it that night, due to you just, I don't know if it was being afraid of Ranch Hand or you call it being smart, but the thing is there's rules put in place for a reason. matches do not start. It's like me going outside right now and hitting somebody with my car and then saying, "Hey, come wrestle me." Like, you don't do that. You don't want to fight a crippled man. You want to fight somebody when they're at their best, and that's all I'm saying right now, Jamie Hall.
Okay, well, it'll get your panties out of a bunch. You can definitely bring Ranchan back. I'll gladly give him a rematch, and I'll even come out first and sit beside you if it'll make you feel better. But John, did you by chance happen to see some of those wonderful photos that at Tina's Photography took from the show on Saturday? You want to talk about legendary and highlight reel? I thought the one of me giving Ranchan Carlson the pile driver on the concrete is good enough to make it into the video on Frontline. So, yeah, it was memorable, Gavin, and it looked wonderful. And I have a nice 8x10 coming in glossy that I'm going to put right on the wall behind me. So, yeah, and I'm going to stare at it and drink my coffee. And I'm going to think fondly of the time that I did what Ranchan Carlson did to me back to him. And, I'm sorry if it makes you upset, but it is what it is. And it happened. And, yeah, you go commando. That's what they think of you. But it happened. It's over. And let's move on. Let's leave that in the past and let's look to the future.
Yeah. One thing that I have to wonder, though, is you mentioned, how you have to set your sights and just go take it, and so does it bother you at all that Y Keys is the one man that has been able to hold your shoulders to the mat for a 3 count, and he's the one that's holding that holy grail that at any time he wants, he could set his sights on you and come out and just take, because he could outright blindside you the way that you did. Well, actually, I guess you didn't Carlson, other than the fact he came through the curtain and got blindsided. But yeah, he could blindside you because you wouldn't know he's coming.
First and foremost, I don't think that would ever happen, because I don't think why he's the probably the premier athlete in WDWA doesn't have the intestinal fortitude to try and do something like that to me. And when you talk about him holding my shoulders down for a 3 count, John, unless you would like me to come join you on commentary in the future more frequently, you should always mention it with an asterisk that Ranchan Carlson was there, and that's why that happened. So, yeah, and that's exactly how I feel about it. And if Y Keys wants to change his goal from being WDWA heavyweight champion to being the WDWA Mid-Atlantic champion, and he wants to come out and blindside me, or he wants to come out after I've done, put somebody to sleep, or if I've put them in a pile driver, or if I hit an iconic brain buster or a top rope superplex on them and just broke in their back, he wants to slide in and take advantage of me, I welcome it, because then he's showing that he has what it takes to succeed in this business that isn't just athletic ability. He's got guts, he's got grit, and he's ambitious and he's hungry. But I don't think we're going to see that. And I think that's exactly why he's going to keep his eyes focused on Austin Kingsley and JTR. You quote me on that.
Well, being he's the only one who's beat you, you might want to hope that he keeps his eyes focused there.
Yep. And if ifs were fifths, we'd all be drunk, John. And here we are. And this is black coffee, like my heart, Gavin. Black coffee, black heart.
Ain't that the truth? But like John, we have a whole roster of guys that I would love to see it mix up with Jamie Hall, man. Before Saturday night, like I mentioned a couple minutes ago, I was praising Jamie Hall for his wrestling abilities, things like that. So I know a lot of good pro wrestling matches will be presented from WDWA because of Jamie Hall. I'm just hoping going forward, now that he's got the title, that, things can get back to how they were and he could just show his wrestling abilities more than running his mouth and taking cheap shots. Because I would love to see him mix it up with guys like, DeMarcus Kane, the AKs, the Sean Cannons, the Clay Jacobs, all that stuff, the CEOs, the Ace Christians, all of those guys, I can't wait to see you in the ring with them,
And I personally can't wait to be in the ring with them. When I moved to this area, I was very selective about who I reached out to about joining their roster. When I saw WDWA, I thought that there's something that I could add of value to the company. I thought that there was something that the company was missing, and that was tradition. And John, just know when you see me in the ring with my boots laced and this belt around my waist, that's exactly what I'm bringing to the ring with me. I'm going old school. I'm going to represent exactly what this championship represents, quite possibly one of the greatest territories in the history of American pro wrestling, the Mid-Atlantic territory. And some of the people that propped up that territory did some of the things that Gavin just ran me down about. Dusty Rhodes ran his mouth. I would say he was pretty good at it. Ric Flair did some cheap shots, and I would definitely say he was one of the greatest of all time. So, just know that there's going to be more of that and more of this going forward, and look forward to some classic wrestling matches.
John, what about you, man? You anybody you'd like to see Jamie Hall take on?
That, like say, there are plenty of talented people in that locker room, and several of them I think could give Jamie a run for his money in a fair fight. Fair fight being the key there. But a lot of them have already been named. I'd love to see him go against AK Bane. This new Clay Jacobs attitude, I'd love to see, how he'd fare against that. But then you got the people like the Blaze Ace Christian. Rockstar Kelly, he'd be a good one. There's just so many talented people in that locker room that, I'd love to see him give them a fair fight and see how it came out.
Yeah, being the owner of the company and putting on shows for the fans, I always want to put the best performance that I can, the best event that I can. I like for my champions to be fighting champions, I got no doubt, Jamie, that you're a fighting champion, but there's also more to that. There's more to being a great pro wrestler. It's integrity. It's it's being the best you can be. And I think to be a great champion, you got to be good in that ring from bell to bell. And outside that bell, you need to be doing the right things as well. And, not to hate on any of your talent, but, you disappointed me Saturday night with the ranch hand attack. Tough as nails, though. Carlson's tough as nails. He got through that match, win, lose, or draw, and still wrestled in a Rumble later that night. I like to put on the best events I have to, so I will be looking for opponents for you. I will be looking to see who could put on a good match with you. I would be seeing who could take that title from you. So stay tuned, Jamie. Continue to hit the gym, continue to train. You be the best you can be, because WDWA is going to bring that out of you.
I'll sit over here while I'm shaking in my boots, waiting for that match card announcement to come out. I'll make sure I say my prayers and I take my vitamins. You guys talk about fighting fair. That's the biggest oxymoron I've ever heard. The only thing that matters is not how you win, it's if you win. If you win. And you're looking at a winner. Yeah, so you have my dates. I'm here whenever you're ready, and I will gladly put this on the line against somebody that you think has a shot at taking this off of me, because there's nothing more I love than looking over at you and looking over at John and looking up at Danica and seeing the disappointment in their face when I win and they have to raise my hand. And I see John look over and shake his face, and then I see Donnie jumping up and down in excitement. That's what I live for. So, yeah, I'm waiting. Just let me know.
Well, you will be on the next show. We have it booked. We don't have an opponent yet. You will find the audience will find that out, as well as yourself this week. We'll definitely post that on social media. John, you got anything else for Jamie?
No, I think I'm good.
How about a I'm sorry, Jamie. You're right, Jamie. I was wrong, Jamie. Can I get one of those, John?
How about a thank you for allowing you to sit next to me for half of a show, because.
Oh, John. He talks about poking the bear. Well, you're, sitting in a powder keg lighting matches. So, you know what? I hope I see you gentlemen again soon. Oh, and I hope I see Susie again soon. And I hope Susie has her light up glasses. And I hope she says that I'm a jerk. And I hope that this time when she types something into them, at least she spells it correctly. So with that, if you guys don't have anything else for me, I'm gonna go drink some more coffee. I'm gonna put some bourbon in it. The bourbon of choice, to the question that ran through the chat earlier, is whatever you guys are buying. That's what I'm drinking.
All right. Well, I got to be professional here. You are our champion. You are representing the company. I hope going forward, you make better decisions. But thank you for your time today, Jamie. Looking forward to seeing you in the ring here soon. So can't wait.
Yeah, and next time I get to see you in the ring, Gavin, I hope that you don't act like an Indian giver and give me the belt and then take it away from me, and then I have to get it from you again, because I can promise you that you won't like me when that happens.
You better wish the next time you see me in the ring, I'm not wearing a pair of wrestling boots, sir.
Okay.
Continue to poke the bear. Just continue to poke the bear, man.
John, with that, I think I broke him. See if you can calm him down. See if you can make it out the rest of this show without having another partner go on vacation. See you guys. I'm out.
All right. Thank you, Jamie, for being here, I guess. And, it was all your pleasure. But, as always, definitely want to mention, Wrestle Talk Podcast. When you don't see Elevation, you can see Wrestle Talk Podcast. They're on every other Tuesday night. We got some great things going over there. We do have several guests lined up for you. And next Tuesday night, we already have our guest lined up and ready to go. And you will see, get his name here. You will see the Falcon, Bailey Dynamite, on the show. He's a wrestler out of the Ohio area, and he's just doing great things out there. So you'll be able to catch him on Wrestle Talk Podcast next Tuesday night. Start is 6:50 Central, 7:50 Eastern time, and tune in. You never know who's going to be hosting. I do know that my man Ace will be hosting, uh, but you never know who's going to be hosting with him because Luke will not be there. So it could be Susie Haas. It could be myself. You never know. But we got a little thing here real quick, and
Sorry about that, John. I don't mean to be unprofessional, man. He's been getting under my skin ever since Saturday, and just sit there and watch him, with his smart ass comments and things like that. It's just, it's the opposite of what I like to represent here at WDWA, and congratulations to him. He's champion, but we'll see for how long. So my apologies. I shouldn't have left you alone. Sorry about that.
hey, it's all good. So we all got to do what we got to do. But as we mentioned, we won't have the fans weigh in tonight. But since we don't have a lot to talk about on the upcoming show, we do have this past week's show, because there was more on that show than just the last man standing match. So we do have more to talk about with that. So why don't we go ahead and jump into what happened at the last show? And I do have that results. But of course, the night started out as we said. It was supposed to have been match number 1 being the last man standing. Jamie Hall, he did attack Carlson as Carlson came through the curtain and pile drived him on the cement. And that match was not able to happen at first. So we did end up with the first match actually, being the light heavyweight championship match, where we saw Tommy Vex take on Chulo Montana for that light heavyweight championship. And, this match, it was a great match. Tommy Vex, he put on one heck of a fight. And, there were times that it looked like he could possibly walk away with that championship. But in the end, Chulo Montana ended up making Tommy Vex tap out, after Chulo had taken out Tommy's knee and continued to work Tommy's knee throughout the match. And eventually the pain just got too much. And when Chulo slapped on that submission, it just was too much for Tommy.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that match. Always been a fan of Tommy Vex, for all the years he's been in the business, things like that. And, it's hard to like Chulo, but, I respect the fact that he's very gifted when he's in that ring. And I think the match brought the best out of both of them, Josh Petticord, referring to it right now in the chat, but hearing that, Tommy's weighing in at 10 hoagies and he stands at a certain amount of Mountain Dew cans, and he was able to drive all the way to the show with all 4 windows down and the candles never went out. Just that kind of stuff cracks me up, man. But at the same time, he's able to put the comedy to the side and he's able to go when he's in that ring. You know, so it's nice to see that, you know, he can laugh, but he can also, you know, man up when the time is. But, you know, Chulo just was working the ankle, man. It's what you do as a wrestler. You pick something at it and you chop it away. And that's what Chulo did, man. He wrestled a smart game Saturday night. And once Tommy started favoring that ankle, man, he was at it. He was on it. Yeah, and then all it took was for him to lock in that ankle lock at the very end. And yeah, I mean, Tommy couldn't go. I mean, I don't think any man could have gone through all of that and still kept going. So, you know, hats off to both gentlemen for putting on a great performance. But, you know, another win in the books for Chulo Montana, still light heavyweight champion.
Yeah. So, you know, after that great action, we actually went into a 3-on-3 tag match, you know, where we saw the Sigma males and Scarlet Maiden, I got it right,
There you go.
take on UCK. And of course, being this was a 3-on-3, this was not a title match. But you know, throughout this match, it really looked like UCK had the upper hand through a lot of this matchup. You know, they were able to cut that ring in half to keep from getting anybody tagged in. And it really wasn't looking good. But, you know, in the end, we were able to see, I believe it was LDJ got a roll up and got the 3 count. And so they did come out victorious. And so, you know, UCK, when it was over, they actually made sure that they showed that they still weren't scared of the Sigma males. You know, they got in their faces. They were holding up their titles. They were showing them, hey, you still don't have these. We're still the champions. You might have won, but you didn't win anything. Um, so, you know, something tells me we haven't seen the last of that. And I definitely look forward to seeing a actual tag team matchup where you see Sigma males go against UCK in the future, because I'm sure that will be coming, but I who knows when, you know. So hopefully we get to see it, and who knows if the titles will be on the line if that does happen.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. You know, Sigma males have definitely been one of the top teams here in WDWA. I mean, last year, I mean, wow, it was almost the year of Sigma males last year, you know, all the way through teaming up with Mr. Anderson and everything like that. You know, during the winter time, you know, we didn't see too much of them. We got to see Forte a little bit, but it was hard. You know, we didn't see the guys together. But when they came back, man, it was like they never left. But you know, like we talked earlier about Lady Glory, you know, the Uncrowned Kings, you know, you can't sleep on them. Phenomenal athletes, great pro wrestlers that can work against anybody in any type of style, any size, any shape. Like those guys are phenomenal. And when you put those three together, you know, it's like all the puzzle pieces fitting, you know. And they deserve to be tag team champions, you know, for all the hard work that they put in. But Saturday night, Sigma males teamed up with Scarlet Maiden, and just that combination just did not work for Uncrowned Kings. I don't know what it was. They just could not get that upper hand, and you know, it just took one little slip up, and that's it, man. They capitalized, like you said. You know, there was a sunset flip with LDJ when Maiden, you know, shoved Al Snook into LDJ, and you know, it only takes that 3. And sometimes when you're given a move that fast, the brain doesn't kick in right away. You know, you're shocked, you're surprised that something happened, and you don't think, hey, you know, I got to kick out real quick, you know. But when you get a big guy like LDJ's, like feet on your shoulders and stuff like that in that moment, like, you know, they just got it, man. They just got it, and they it was like slipping on a banana peel for Uncrowned Kings. You know, I'm sure they went home and they beat themselves up over it, and I don't think that they're going to make another mistake like that again. So, yeah, I mean, Nothing against Sigma Males and Scarlet Maiden. They are victorious. I would love to see them all link up again. But it's going to take a very good team at the right time and right place to be able to beat the Uncrowned Kings for their tag team championship.
Yeah, so I mean, as good as that match was, then we saw Keo Van Du, one half of This Is War, taking on Joey Martinez. Another great matchup. Joey Martinez is an absolute great athlete, and I really enjoyed watching these two go at it.
Yeah, I mean, both of these guys phenomenal. You put like Joey Martinez, so he reached out a couple months ago about returning to WDWA. I didn't have a second thought in my head. I was like, hell yes. Like, the guy is phenomenal. I mean, we used to see him link up with former WDWA heavyweight champion Keikoa, who I consider one of the best. And they would tear the house down. So I couldn't wait to get Joey Martinez back into the WDWA ring. And then a guy like Keo Van Du, who's, if you guys follow him on social media, like, he is making a mark in every company he works for. He's getting a shot at some of the big times. Like, he's working AEW and doing stuff for them. Like, he has a very bright future ahead of him. And just to be able to have the opportunity to put those two phenomenal workers in the same ring together was such an honor, for me to do, because it's also like, hey guys, this is what WDWA brings to the table, and it's two of the best. And that was a match that's going to stick out to me, because that's what I like. I like, guys that will just get in there, work their ass off, and put on a great match. And that's exactly what that was. It just so happens that night, Keo Van Du was better than Joey Martinez. But I would love, love, love to see those guys link it back up again.
Yeah, definitely, because they do put on a great match. And then, at that point, we went into intermission. We came back from intermission. We thought we were going to see the Rumble, because we thought, okay, well, this night's pretty much done. But, evidently Jamie Hall had enough. He left me from commentary, unbeknownst that he was doing so. And he appeared in the ring, and just as the announcer was announcing that this was the 30-man Rumble, he appeared and said, no, that's not happening. And, he called Gavin out, and he demanded that he be given the title because of the fact that Carlson could not go. Gavin came out. Gavin did give him the title. And then we could tell that it was something you did not want to do. But just as you gave him that title, here comes Ranch Hand Carlson, through the curtain, wearing a neck brace, really not in shape to fight, at least we thought. But, Carlson came out there. Carlson pled his case. He said, let me do this. I want this match. And so the match was started. The bell rang. The match was made official. And at that point, Ranch Hand, he really actually overall looked good despite what he'd already gone through. But, the match was back and forth. And in the end, Jamie Hall hit him with another pile driver. And that one was, on the ring mat. But then he picked him up and hit him with two more pile drivers on a steel chair. And it was just too much for Carlson to overcome. And, of course, Ranch Hand lost the title as Jamie Hall walked out our new champion. So,
yeah, it was, what pissed me off so much, man, is, like I said earlier, like I'm not gonna take nothing away from Jamie. Like he's very talented in the ring. Um, Ranch hand as well, and I couldn't wait to watch these guys finally settle a score uh, in the ring. You know, in order for a match, excuse me, in order for a match to start, a bell needs to ring. In order for a match to end, a bell needs to ring. So, like, I was just disappointed, man. I was disappointed that that Jamie just couldn't let the match happen. I wanted 100% Carlson versus 100% Hall. May the best man win, whoever wins. And not only did I get robbed of that, all the fans got robbed out of that. And another thing is, like, people didn't see Carlson backstage. Once we got him to the back after getting power drived the on the concrete, I mean, he was not there, man. Like, you could tell his eyes were fluttering. I could tell he's been concussed. He started bleeding a little bit out of his ears. We had to wipe that clean. Same with his nose. And I was worried about it. Like, I thought we were going to take him to the hospital. In fact, I was trying to make arrangements for them to take him to the hospital, which I thought was still going through. But unbeknownst to me, and that's the whole reason why, like, I came out with the title, and I was like, you know what, like, I don't think Carlson's going to be able to compete anytime soon. Therefore, I would have to vacate it anyways, right? So, like, it was, I didn't want to give him the title, but I just felt like it's a hard argument, right? Like, it's a last man standing and things like that. But the facts is the bell never rung, right? So it put me in like a rock and a hard place on what to do. So, at that time, I don't know what I was thinking, but I thought it was the right thing to put the title, to give it to Hall, so that we can continue to have the Mid Atlantic Championship division, at WDWA. But Carlson had more strength in him than I thought. Not to take anything away from him, man, but you had to be Superman to freaking kick back after that. Like, there's no give to a concrete. And if those who are familiar with the pile driver, it pushes your neck down. It's not like it's a kink or something like that. It pushes your neck down into your body. It's a very, very, very dangerous move, which has a very, very dangerous impact to people's lives. And as you guys know, like, from a lot of famous wrestlers, Stone Cold included, like, it ends careers. So I was in a little bit of a panic mode, because the last thing I want is any of my guys to be injured and never have to work again, never do what they love again. And that's what I was worried about for Carlson. So when Carlson came through that curtain, man, not only was I shocked and I was caught off guard, I was very concerned with him. I didn't want things to get worse. Over being a pro wrestler, he's a human being. He's a husband. He's a father. The last thing I wanted was for something serious to happen. But, he didn't want that. He wanted his shot for the Mid-Atlantic Championship. He wanted his payback. He wanted his revenge. He wanted to stand toe-to-toe as, like, a real champion does. When the world's, got you up against the wall, like, you just come out swinging. And that's exactly what type of champion Ranchan Carlson was, and I'm sure will be again. But that's where all my animosity comes from, Jamie. So, like, it's nothing against his talent or thinking he's a good champ or anything like that. It's just, I was disappointed because I was not given the match that I wanted to see, and it could have cost somebody their life. So, it's one of those things, like, I talked to Carlson, like, he's doing okay. Like, he's got a lot of pain. Luckily, it's just a concussion. It wasn't a broken neck or anything like that. So, he'll still be fighting. He'll still be kicking up. But, overall, the match itself was good. I mean, both those guys hard hitting, all over the place, like, beat the hell out of each other. But it was hard for me to watch. And it was hard for me to see the outcome. So, yep. I mean, that's my thoughts on that match, John. We can move forward to the Rumble if you like.
Yeah, after that matchup, we moved into that 30-man Rumble match, 30 men over the top, and, another absolute great Rumble, absolute mayhem in the ring, as always. But, it was great to watch. So much action in this, you never knew where to look. And, you had all kinds of names in there. And, you know, the surprise of the night was, you know, Tyler Hastings had already entered the match. We hadn't seen or heard from Luke McCarron since he was attacked by Tyler Hastings. And all at once, Luke McCarron's music hits, and here he comes out into the Rumble, and the pop that we heard from the crowd as he came through that curtain was unbelievable. And then, when he actually eliminated Tyler Hastings,
gave him what he
another
deserves. Yep.
another deafening crack from the crowd. And, it was just awesome to see. Of course, after that, Luke being smart enough to say, okay, I don't think I'm going to win this thing, obviously, and I don't want to be punished, so I'm out, and eliminate himself as he dove onto Tyler Hastings, as a matter of fact. It was great to see that. And, of course, in the end, AK Bane came out victorious in this. Although the one thing I did forget, I don't know how I forgot it, was prior to all this, we did see a promo, and we had an open challenge by Austin Kingsley. And that open challenge was answered by Zakar Shaw. And, of course, Austin came out victorious in that. But what made me think about that is Money and Power, they had a little plan going. And real quick, let me play this promo here from Austin Kingsley that you'll hear a little bit about that plan as well as that open challenge.
Yo, Chet, sir, I seen you and the boys talking the other day, and it got me thinking. I like the plan that you guys set up. That the person who should win this battle royal should either be Drew or yours truly, Cassius Cash Carter. Because one thing about me, I know a thing or two about winning battle royals. 2 years ago, that bunkhouse, that led me to a lot of success within my faction then. But see, we're talking about us, Money and Power. The now. The heavyweight champion. Yes, sir. Yours truly.
Yeah. Hey, you got a big challenge ahead of you. Okay, 30 people you got in there. But we're gonna make it happen because we're Money and Power. Whether it's Drew, whether it's you, and let's keep it at that too.
Exactly.
Huh? Let's keep it at those two.
We don't need a third option.
We don't need a third option.
No.
This is what we're gonna do, Cash. We're gonna secure that Rumble for Money and Power, and then I have a little bit of a challenge of my own. Let me know what you think about this. Ready?
Okay.
The Austin Kingsley the 5th Open Invitational Challenge.
Bro, where do you come up with this stuff?
It's a little wordy, but it's off the top of the dome. This challenge is meant for any WDWA individual that I have not faced one-on-one in singles competition at WDWA. And because I am so generous, I'm feeling very philanthropic, I'm a charitable human being, I love to give the WDWA fans what they want. And that is my beautiful, rich face, Austin Kingsley the 5th. So, West Virginia, we will see you Saturday night.
So their plan didn't completely go the way they had planned it, because of course it was supposed to be either Blackwood or Cassius that won, but AK Bane came out victorious, so it did still stay with Money and Power being victorious. And of course, Austin Kingsley was planning on retaining, which he did by disqualification. He did not win the match. He retained by disqualification. So I guess you could say their plan worked, just with a few small swerves.
Yeah, I mean, it's JTR's a smart man, and right now all the balls in his court. They also had 3 of their members in the Rumble, and now we are looking at Money and Power in the main event at Berkeley Mania. unless Austin loses the championship prior to WrestleMania or Berkeley Mania. So he got everything he wanted. Their plan worked, you know. Obviously, they got something up their sleeve for what they want to do and how to make this work. They're probably just going to make it one big joke and laugh out all of us. But, you know, the plan worked. So, you know, it's kind of a crappy thing, you know, for all of us. We were all looking forward to having, you know, a great main event here at Berkeley Mania and all that stuff. But I know those guys. I mean, they just want to laugh at us, you know. So now that everything's in their hands with the way the main event's going to go, like, you know, it's kind of a bummer because, like I told everybody earlier, I like to put on great shows and great entertaining. So who knows, you know, hopefully maybe they'll both just want to see who's the best of Money and Power. I don't know. I don't know what to think. So, you know,
Yeah, I'm not sure what to think myself, because I mean, when it comes down to it, yeah, you know that they have a plan, you know that it's Money and Power, and you know they're going to want to pull something. And I'm sure that when it comes down to it, JTR will throw whatever money he has to at it to pull whatever he wants to pull. However, it's AK Bane. And I can't see AK Bane laying down for anybody, you know, and I can't see him just saying, okay, yeah, I'll take a dive. You retain, I'll dive. I can't see that happening. You know, AK Bane being the man he is and being the monster that he is. I don't know how anybody can control him when his mindset is to inflict pain. I don't know how this is going to turn out for Money and Power. But obviously, no matter what, Money and Power is going to keep the belt because,
yeah, I mean,
you know, it's Money and Power.
You know, like JTR is a great businessman. You know, AK has been the one faithful Money and Power employee from day one. From day one, he was, you know, his very first recruitment. He's been loyal to JTR, and JTR has been loyal to him. I mean, we've seen JTR. You know, we talked about last Berkeley Mania, the stuff that JTR went through to try to protect AK's championship. You know, who knows? I mean, he's known AK longer. You know, maybe the loyalty lies there. Who knows? But it's definitely going to be interesting these next couple months leading up to Berkeley Mania. You know, we have 3 shows in July, 1 show in August, and then at the end of August, Berkeley Mania. So we have 4 shows before Berkeley Mania. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this all plays out. You know, hopefully the fans won't get cheated out of a main event, but you know, I'm trying to stay hopeful and see how it works. You know, like I said, who knows? Maybe Austin won't even be champ by then. So, yeah, man, congratulations to AK Bane. Definitely a force to be reckoned with here in WDWA. But yeah, he's got that #1 contender spot, you know, and nothing's going to take that away from him.
And you know, you mentioned that there are 3 shows in July, and I actually happen to have this here. You know, obviously our next show, July 11th, hot and bothered, South Berkeley Fire Hall. But then on the 18th, we're, you know, Clash at the Carnival at South Berkeley Volunteer.
South Morgan.
Yeah, South Morgan Volunteer Fire Department Carnival. So that's going to be up there in Berkeley Springs.
Yeah, it's going to be a free show. They actually were on the radio today promoting it. We're hoping to get a lot of people there. You know, bring your friends, bring your family, you know, enjoy all the carnival rides and all the carnival fun and food that they have to offer. And then, you know, come join us for pro wrestling. It's going to be a fantastic night. They're ending the carnival with us. So we want them to go out with a bang. We want to go out with a bang. And, you know, WDWA is always bringing it. So it's not close to where we normally run shows, but you know, I know we have loyal fans that are going to come out, and hopefully we'll get more fans there out of the Berkeley Springs area. You know, we used to be there as well. But really, it's just it's get everybody together for a fun time with pro wrestling, and at the same time, enjoying the carnival. The South Morgan Fire Department, they depend on these types of things. They depend on these types of things to make them money so that they can put it towards back into the fire department themselves. So come out, enjoy yourselves. Enjoy the food, enjoy all that stuff. This is a big part of something that WDWA wants to really, really push, and really want to push on their fans to just come and enjoy them time. So Josh Petticord just said what time. So it's going to be a normal time. So probably around 6:15, 6:30. When I get closer to the date and I find more details, I'll let you know, but it's going to be around that time. So yeah, good stuff, man. And then like you were getting ready to say, on the 25th, we have Too Hot to Handle back at the South Berkeley Fire Hall in Inwood, West Virginia. And just like I just mentioned about the South Morgan Volunteer Fire Department, is when you guys come to Inwood and you guys come to the fire departments and things like that, they all the money they make doing concessions goes right back into the fire departments. So please show them some love. I want to see them be successful just like us. They all depend on tax money and things like that, and sometimes the fire departments and the police departments and the hospitals, everything, they, without grants, without things like that, they don't make much. And it's hard for them to get out and help the local families with when they have emergencies. So, please come out, have fun. Just keep that in the back of your head. Not to ask for money or anything like that, but just know, like, whenever ever a penny spent in one of those places, that's always for a good cause. So, the fire departments have been really great to us in this area.
Yeah. And, as we said, the next show is Hot and Bothered. And we saw today that the first match has been announced for Hot and Bothered, where we're going to see Zakar Shaw take on Clay Jacobs. So we know the whole thing there where, they were tag team champions. And, we saw that throughout everything, we saw Clay having moments where, he was hearing those voices and, just those moments that, kind of took over for Clay. And, then, one thing led to another. We weren't sure if they were on the same page. Then, we saw that last time they tagged together in the 6-man tag, where they also had Y Keys with them, we actually saw Clay turn on Zakar, and those voices have completely taken over. We've seen promos since then out of Clay where, he has, basically cussed the fans, and, he's kind of said to hell with everybody. And, so this is a totally different Clay that we're dealing with. And so we're going to see him and Zakar mix it up and see what happens here when we see this changed Clay Jacobs in the ring.
Yeah, you kind of hit the nail on the head. I don't want to, beat on it too much, but just, this is, the story continues. This guy's histories go back a couple years now. I mean, everybody that's followed WDWA the last couple years have seen these guys, in every type of match, every type of angle, on the same side against each other. All I can say is the story continues, and it's one of those matches that when it came together for this show, I wanted to put it up right away because this match alone could be on the marquee. So you never know what's going to happen when these two are in the ring. So, yeah.
Yeah, so definitely looking forward to that, and it's already been said, Jamie Hall will be on that card, but we just don't know who he's going to be facing yet. You'll have to watch. So,
But
Jamie,
we just found out it's his birthday, so
yeah. So yeah, there's a nice birthday gift for you there, Jamie. It's going to be the fact that we already know you're going to be in a match just against who. You know, I have no idea who he's going to be put against there. Like we said, there's so much talent in the locker room and so many people that deserve a shot at that title. And it's just, it's going to be interesting to see who actually gets that first shot at it. So,
Yep.
you know,
looking forward to it, John. You know, again, brother, I'm happy to come back. You know, it was nice to do another show with you. Unfortunately, it was with Jamie this time, but you know, maybe next time we can get somebody I like. You know, he is the Mid Atlantic champion. You know, it is what it is. You know, we're just dealing with it. But you know, episode 26 in the books, John. You know, again, we wish our brother Donnie Diablo nothing but the best. We hope he's feeling better. We're hoping to see him again in the next 2 weeks.
He has to quit going to those Diddy parties that Money and Power puts on, because every time he goes to one, he ends up getting sick.
I know, it's that damn you know, body oil. But anyways, John, always a pleasure, buddy. 26 in the books. We'll see everybody in 2 weeks for the next elevation. So thanks, John. Everybody take care. Have a good night.